What's going on, everybody, man? I hope everyone is well, man. Welcome back to the show, man. So today's a good day, man. We got somebody really special on this episode. And before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been tuning in, man. I appreciate everything. Over this past weekend, man, I got to go to my class reunion, and it was pretty amazing to see everybody who I haven't seen in forever, man. Not to date myself, but it was my 20th reunion, and it's just like, it was amazing to see all these people that you've known forever, 20 plus years, and you've gone to school with them, you've seen them, and sometimes you don't even have them on Facebook. Sometimes you just see these people and you're just like, wow, like this is how your life has turned out. And it's pretty, most people in my class were doing pretty good, man. And it was just inspiring to see that, man. And some people actually even knew my podcast, which was like mind blowing for a guy like me, like to know that people, my peers, were paying attention to what I was doing. And I gotta say, that was really dope, man. And it meant a lot to hear the feedback, and the feedback was positive, man. So, it was really, really dope, man. Shout out to my boy BC. You know who you are, man. Thank you, my man BC. Really showed a lot of love, man. I really, really respect that, man. Thank you, bro. I want to say just thank you to everybody who has been tuning in, man. 40 episodes. I thought I wasn't going to be done with this, but, for a little while. But, God, by God's will, got another guest today. And it's amazing, man. It really is. I just want to quickly say, if you got people that you haven't been in touch with in forever, but you have the opportunity to see them, I suggest you do that, man. Sometimes you need that to ground you, to know that where you came from is pretty dope, and sometimes you just need to see that. But enough of that. Anyway, let's get to the show. Today, I got a very, very special guest. She is the epitome of quality, style, and just, I accept nothing but the best. And she is dope. And she's an amazing makeup artist who's built an entire makeup business behind doing weddings and doing high-end weddings. And I really, really think her story and how she just turned her life around into this is just amazing. She came from the corporate world. She went through the retail world. She pushed herself through things and made it happen. She's a proud wife and a mother of 2 kids. She's done a lot, man. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. We got Melanie B on here. She's just a dope person, period. Other than that, man, keep your eyes tuned, because we're going to have more stuff coming up in the future. We got another podcast that I'm producing that'll be out very soon. I'm producing a podcast. That's right. Your boy is stepping up his game a little bit, and that'll be out very, very soon. And other than that, man, I hope you guys enjoy this. It's going down. On that note, I'm out. Enjoy the show. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Listen, we're back. It's a new episode. Today, I got somebody who I always got somebody special. But today, I really got somebody who is dope because she created her own lane. And she just has that flyness about her. Today, we're at Cuppy. So if you hear the door open and closing, it's because we're out here. We're doing our thing. And she just is somebody I watched on Instagram, and somebody I seen just continuously just hit you in the head with just dope picture after dope picture after dope picture of her work. She is a makeup artist. She is a creative. And from what I can see, she is a woman who is about her business and knows her followers, knows what she wants. And I have to give it up to today, my guest, Melanie B. Hello.
Hi, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Couple of questions. Let's ask a couple of questions. First and foremost, let me ask you this. How did you get here? Where'd you start this makeup love for makeup and everything?
So I'd say that my story is probably a little similar to a lot of makeup artists that I know, where I started out with just a love of makeup. I was one of those little girls who had a vanity
Right.
toy vanity. I had the mannequin head that you put makeup on. And
Where'd
so
you grow
forth.
up, if I'm able to
I grew up in Jersey, North
Okay.
Jersey.
All
yeah,
right.
about 10 minutes from here.
Okay. So you grew up around where I lived in then.
Yeah, always been a Jersey girl.
And you were into makeup very early.
Yeah, so it wasn't anything that I took seriously, for a while. And then around the time high school came, I actually left traditional high school to go to a vocational technical school
Nice.
where I enrolled in cosmetology.
So straight out the box. How did your family feel about that?
They loved it. My mom and dad didn't really plan for me to go to college.
Okay.
But they did want me to have a skill, a trade.
Did you ever do your mother's makeup back then?
No, not really.
Word?
No.
Oh, stop it. Okay. Moms wasn't trying to hear you in the beginning, huh? She was like,
I mean, I didn't offer either.
all right. She's like, I don't want this woman's opinion on my stuff.
Yeah,
I get that.
know.
I get that. So you went to cosmetology early in the game. And you had the support of your family. A lot of people, when they get started in any kind of creative business, they don't really get the support of their family off the bat.
Right.
How big was that for you?
Well, it felt natural.
Right.
Honestly, it felt like a natural path. I appreciated it. I didn't know where I was going with it at the time.
Yeah.
I just knew that I wanted to do something that had to do with beauty.
Okay.
Where I could get out of school and have a career.
Right. How big was it for you to be in that situation where you got the support from your family, you're doing this, and you want to get a job like right after school and stuff like that? How big was it for you to get that support with them, but did you get support from your friends too and the homies? Did they let you do their makeup as well, or was it like, nah?
You're taking me way back. I mean, you have to make me tell my age.
Nah, don't need to tell your age.
Like the 90s. I'm not embarrassed or anything, but it was the 90s. So, but when I got into cosmetology in high school, initially, I was that person that would do everybody's makeup for prom.
Okay.
Junior prom and so forth. And of course, I knew nothing about a professional application. And also, one thing about cosmetology is that at the time, they focused more on skin care, shaving, haircuts, and things. So it really wasn't a lot of makeup that we touched on at all. So I knew nothing about a professional application. Hair was actually my first love.
So hair was your first love. So So were you going to be like a hair designer and stuff like that? Was that something that you wanted to ever get into? Or it wasn't like something that you wanted to directly go into?
I actually enjoyed it for a long time. I graduated, licensed, and went right into doing hair. Started as a shampoo girl on Saturdays and so forth.
Right.
And then eventually I transitioned into working in a salon full time.
Nice. How was that first experience being in a salon working? And you're a young girl at that point. You're not like 19 years old. 18, 19 years. And you're in a working environment. How was that for you?
It was, of course, I felt grown up, but it was also scary. And I didn't have a lot of business sense back then. So I wasn't really taking it completely seriously. Like I enjoyed the haircuts, I enjoyed the training and all of the, whatever styles they had going on in the 90s was fun.
Yes.
Changing the color of my hair. But from a business standpoint, I didn't have any intent to what I was doing.
Okay.
As a kid, I wanted to work and party, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. When I was 18, 19, there was no telling me what I was doing.
Right.
I was out there. Life was about what was I going to be doing today? Okay, how do I get some money? And after I get that money, where are we going tonight?
Exactly. Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah, Thirsty Thursdays starts it all off.
Right.
Of course, and I had homies that were in college. So their college was my college.
Right.
So whatever they're doing, I'm on the turnpike. Where you at?
Right.
Like
What's poppin'?
I'm over there. When did the transition start for you when you started saying, look, maybe I can really start making a real living. Like I got to really make a living doing this.
So I went back and forth for a long time, to be honest, because I was in a salon for a couple years.
Yeah.
I actually left home at 19.
Okay.
Also.
Wow.
So when I
You left home at 19?
yeah, it was crazy. Because I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to listen. I thought I was grown and everything. So
Right.
I left home. Of course, again, no sense of how to, pay bills or anything. So I ended up leaving the salon and going to work into retail. And I did that because at one point my boss put me on commission in the salon,
Yeah.
and then it got really real because I had rent to pay, and the rent was only like, I don't know, $400.
So you're like a
or something,
19, 20-year-old girl
yeah,
paying rent.
yeah.
That's no joke.
Yeah, it was, and I had no concept. Again, here I am. I'm at the club.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
at the
yeah.
tunnel.
Yeah.
Or I'm everywhere.
I remember the tunnel.
Limelight, wherever, Bentley's, everywhere.
Yeah.
That's all. So what do you mean I have to pay rent? Like, what do you mean I got to go shopping?
Word.
So I left home, and I couldn't manage working in a salon with the lack of income. So I ended up first trying to work at the salon and then work in retail.
Okay.
But then eventually retail took me out of the salon most times. So I ended up leaving altogether because the money was steady
Right.
in retail.
Yes.
So I missed it, but I felt like it's what I had to do at the time.
There is that rubber, what was it, say the rubber meets the road kind of moment in your life where you're like, yo, I got to do what I got to do. It's survival. When did you start to transition back into the cosmetic world?
So the first time I started heading back into the beauty industry is I had a brief stint where I moved to Delaware and I was working in a hair salon. That was like probably about 9 months that lasted because I couldn't stand Delaware. I moved out there for some guy. Crazy.
Guys will.
Yeah,
guys,
some guy, right.
Yo, it's so, I hate to say that, but it's amazing how that story never gets old.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like
I'm sure you had homegirls who did the same thing.
Oh yeah. I wish I could speak to young women and tell them like, don't do it. Like for someone who's not your husband. But anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah.
When did you realize like, yo, I got to get back to Jersey? I know you missed that shit.
So of course, the relationship ended. I was actually doing hair in Delaware. I was licensed in Delaware, and then I ended up coming back. But when I came back, I needed a job, so I jumped into corporate America. Corporate America is actually mixed into all of this also.
Oh.
Yeah. So I came back and went into corporate America, and then I was in corporate for some time.
That's a big change, corporate America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel stifled while you were in corporate America?
I did.
Creatively?
It's definitely because it's 9 to 5 working for someone else, and it's not to say that it's bad because some people actually don't mind.
Right.
But when you're creative, you have other things that you want to do.
Yes,
and
Lord.
there's no time to do that.
Yes,
when
Lord.
you are working for someone else 9 to 5, it's just a lot more challenging.
And people never get that. You try to have a conversation with them about, like, people always say, why you go out and do this? You got to be crazy to go out and do this on your own and stuff like that. I'm like, you just don't understand because it's nothing you're that passionate about yet. Until you figure out what you're so passionate about that you're willing to throw it up instead of the money, you're just like, you really won't get it until you're in it.
Exactly.
Did you, during that time, of course, you probably stabled out at that point in your life. Being that you had that stable income, was it scary to start pursuing other things for you?
It was scary, but it needed to happen. So the way it happened specifically is that I was working for this call center as an investment banking firm about 6 years ago.
Was that in New York?
It was in Jersey.
It was in
they
Jersey?
have a branch in New York, but it was in Jersey. And, it's fun. I made the best of the situation. The job was fun because the people were fun. The job itself sucked. The people were fun. But they laid me off, like, just abruptly one day. And when they laid
was this
me
during
off,
like the crash, like in 08?
No, it was a call center that kind of just did stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lay you off, call you back, lay you off. And then one time they laid me off, but they laid me off during the summer.
Oh, whole nother story.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. For anybody who's ever been laid off during the summer, it's game time, buddy.
Exactly.
We're about to enjoy this.
Exactly. So at first I was bitter because originally when I had taken a job, I was supposed to do it part-time. And I did it because we needed the extra income in our home. We had 2 small children.
So at that point, you already had gotten married and everything. Ah.
Yeah, there's some gaps and things. But I was again, corporate, different companies I'd worked for.
Yeah.
So basically, when they laid me off, At first, I was upset about it.
Mm.
But throughout that time, people had actually said to me, you should be doing makeup. Like, why don't you do YouTube videos? But I was like, YouTube, I'm not interested in YouTube. And then also, I wasn't really doing makeup on other people.
Right.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
We're gonna
We'll
talk about that later on.
But when they laid me off, I all of a sudden had all this time.
Mm-hmm.
I had time for my children.
Yes.
I remember one day the epiphany came when I was at a girlfriend's pool party. It was like a play date.
Okay.
And it was like 2:00 in the afternoon, and my kids are playing in the pool with their friends, and I'm laid back in a beach chair with a drink in my hand. And I was like, oh shoot, I remember this life. And I told my husband, I was like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to corporate. I want to do makeup.
So your husband has played a pivotal role
Yeah.
in your career, because the fact that you telling your spouse this, that's not an easy thing to tell your spouse
Right.
that, but you told him straight up.
Right.
Was he supportive, or was he more of a shock moment and then it came around to him?
He was supportive, number one, because he hated the job.
Okay.
The corporate position, he didn't like it for a lot of
For all
reasons.
guys, we hate hearing our wives, girlfriends hate their jobs.
Yeah.
It's not a great thing. I've been
Yeah.
there before. I know that feeling.
Yeah, he didn't like it. And then he didn't know what my plan was, and I didn't know what my plan was, but he's like, sure, do it. What do you want to do? So I started out by seeking out a makeup school.
Okay.
Where I could take some master classes and get refreshed, and then
Yes.
took it from there.
Nice. So you went from that and you decided that you're going to go do this. How was it being that you're a mom? That must have been one of the most difficult decisions you ever had to make. How was that transition for you?
Well, I like the fact that I had more time with my children because,
Yes.
again, the schedule that I had in the call center really took me away from them. So now all of a sudden I had time, and that was the original plan, for
Yeah.
me to have time with my children and be around for them. So that was good. But then it also meant that more of the financial burden was going to be on my husband and so forth. So I also needed to produce evidence to him that what I was doing, this new venture, was going to bring in, income, and that I was serious about it.
It's not a joke, man. Shout out to all the spouses, girlfriends, husbands out there who ride with you through the rough parts, because I know this because I'm going through this now. And it is not easy. Until you show proof,
Right.
they don't want to hear much about it.
Right.
Until they see it, they're like, yo, fam, guess what? We need to pay for these groceries.
Right.
So
Yeah.
show me some goods right now. And, because Christmas ain't cheap. Christmas ain't cheap. Kids ain't cheap.
Yeah.
You spend more time with your kids and everything. You becoming an entrepreneur as a mother. Your kids are how old at this time?
At that time,
Yeah.
I would say like 2. My daughter was 2. My son was 5.
5. So you got 2
Yeah.
small children, and you're a black woman who's stepping out to become an entrepreneur. What was your strategy?
So to be honest, I really didn't have much of one when I look back. When I look back at it, I just knew that I wanted to, start to build clients and so forth. So the first thing I did, like I mentioned, is I took like a 4-week master class.
Okay.
And that's because I wanted to get brought up to speed on whatever trends were happening, learn proper sanitation in regards to, makeup and so forth. And so I did that. And I kind of soaked myself in trying to take different classes. Some of them were productive. Some of them were a waste of money, to be honest with you. But it still helped me get clear.
Yes. Yes.
Little by little.
Yes. It takes time to build. You got to build a portfolio. B,
Exactly.
you have to build connections.
Right.
So you're a makeup artist. That means that's like ultimately you paint faces. How was that first client that you got, and describe your nerves on that day, man? Like, how was that for you? Because you seem so composed. I must say, you're a very composed woman.
It's hard to see you like shaking in your boots because you're about to do somebody's face for the first time.
Yeah.
Who was your first client? What was it for?
Oh man.
I'm taking you back. I know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like, Dad, I gotta scroll down my Instagram to figure that out. But the first one that pops up in my head was actually a wedding that I got called to do. It was paid for. It was a referral, and it was in Connecticut.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and looking back, I mean, it was a good experience. But looking back, first of all, I like grossly undercharged.
Well, we all do.
Grossly.
You know how
like,
many times
Connecticut.
you know how many times I've undercharged for photography at this point that I just look at myself and say, damn, I should have charged more money.
It's totally different
It
now.
never fails. And now, like, even though I'm not the most seasoned photographer, I know for a fact I'm worth this much at this time, and I know you need these at this point.
Yeah.
So here's what you get. The more you pay, the quicker your turnaround. The less you pay, slower the turnaround.
Yeah.
But
You get it.
Yeah, I get it now. So you did that one. And that was your first wedding, right?
Yeah, it was my first wedding, and I didn't know that I wanted to do brides specifically.
Yeah.
It was just I just took this particular wedding.
Took a life of its own, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sorry, I'm actually confusing that with another one. I had one that was actually it might have been Queens or something. I really have to do, but it was early. That much I remember. It was early. It was an older lady that was marrying a gentleman. So she had more mature skin, and then I took care of her mom, and her mom had like no eyebrows and so forth. And like to a new artist working, I didn't have the greatest brushes at the time. I had like this crazy looking like miniature ring light and so forth.
I love my ring light.
Yeah, I mean they're great for photography.
Yeah.
But at the time, I do remember being nervous.
Right.
Because I was like, how am I going to make... And, it's so funny. You come so far. Now I would know how to handle a situation like that smoothly. My process is so much different. But at the time, I was definitely a wreck. But you can't show that to the client.
No, you can't. You got to keep composed.
Yeah.
Client relations for you. Like, you're a makeup artist. I seen what happened with Cardi B's makeup artist.
Yeah.
I saw the craziness. Like, it can be crazy for you. Have you ever dealt with the craziness from some of your clients? Like, yo, like, I did my part. I can't make this any better than what it is. Your skin is just not going to mix well with whatever I do at this point.
I more so dealt with that when not with private clients so much. I think I had like one private client early on that came for like a makeup trial for her wedding, and she kind of brought a friend, and a friend was being picky and so forth. But there's also changes I could have made. Like it wasn't as bad. The friend actually made it a lot worse.
Than what it was, right?
Situation stressful.
Yeah.
But the most drama I dealt with is when I was freelancing.
For
like cosmetic companies like MAC. I used to freelance for MAC, and that's when I dealt with the drama and the clients that honestly were, annoying and so forth. But I couldn't control that. I couldn't choose my client. So I would definitely deal with people who would come in and they would, bust your chops about different things. And it's like you have to stand there and deal with it. And you don't know their personality. There's no screening, anything like that. That was tough.
Dealing with when you're dealing with your freelancing for Mac and stuff like that, that's got to be like really frustrating because when you have no way of knowing what's going on with them. Is it a lucrative thing when you're freelancing like that way, or is it more? It's better for you to just be doing your own thing.
Personally, on my own, I made a lot more money being on my own because when you work for the counters, they pay you hourly. And then also they control your schedule.
Yeah.
So even though I was freelance and I was part-time, it was still, like $20 an hour or something. So think about this.
They were cheaping you out.
5 faces for $100 before, 5 hours of work for $100 before taxes. And like, think about it. Like I could knock out a face for like double that in an hour.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I was there for a while. I mean, it definitely had its benefits because you never know who's going to sit in your chair. So it definitely taught, me to refine my processes, and so forth. And it does teach you some skill. You get to practice constantly.
Right.
But also there were some drawbacks. Again, you don't control your schedule. They give you the schedule and so forth, and I still felt stifled by that.
Did you ever come across any issues because you're in this culture? I don't know it well enough to know whether it has anything to play with race, but you're a powerful black woman doing this business. Did you ever run up against any issues because you were a woman in this business who wasn't willing to like dumb down your stuff, like you were about your business? Did you run into any interference because of that?
I have to think about that. I'm not I mean, it may have happened, and maybe I just didn't give it too much thought, honestly. Because as far as I was concerned, I was like, I refuse to let anybody get in my way.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So as you were saying, I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I just, I'm one of those people. I feel like I was saying, I'm not going to let anybody get in my way, or make me feel any type of way about myself or what I'm doing business-wise and so forth. So I'd have to think about it, because I'm sure there's probably been something, but nothing comes to mind that is worthy of remembering, to be honest. Yeah,
that's good, because a lot of people, they go through it. They fight, they go through it, and everything seems to be like hard pressed. And they suffer, they go up against a barrier because some people don't want to move around and let other people in the door.
Right.
But you saying that you really don't have anything that stood out, that means you had a really, probably not an easy road, but you had a road that you wasn't getting undercutted by a bunch of people who didn't want to see you there.
There's been, there's always roadblocks, some type of roadblocks, but I can't, think of a specific person. I've had incidents where, I've been taken advantage of, for
I think any creative has been, for sure.
Doing, free work and stuff like that. And when I say free work, that kind of is par for the course when you're coming into this. Yeah. But to the point where, looking back, I should have been paid for those things. But at the time, I was too inexperienced to know that. Yeah. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I had my own experiences doing photography work and dealing with people, and it's just been like, I couldn't. Right. Now I look back on it, and I was like, I was definitely the fool, but I thought I was doing my thing. Right. Sometimes you think that otherwise. Speak to me about, because one thing I do love about what you do is what I see on social media. It's like beautiful picture after beautiful picture. Now, how did you find that niche in social media to put out that kind of stuff with the weddings and stuff like that? Because like we had spoken off mic, a lot of makeup artists are very all over the place. They're not always centric as you are. How did you find that? Or it just kind of happened as you started just putting out your work? Or did you really build a lot of relationships with a lot of photographers?
So initially, I was just doing makeup, makeup for prom, makeup for this, makeup for that. But I didn't have a specific target of type of client I wanted to serve. I didn't have a specific niche at all. And then I figured out that I wanted to do bridal, which a lot of artists back away from, because it's a lot writing, it's a lot of emotions and sometimes drama. Yes. And dealing with brides and parties and so forth. So I knew I wanted to do that. But I had a mentor. Yeah. My mentor, I used to go to, she would hold different meetings and so forth. Can I say her name?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so it's Candace Shepard.
Nice.
I'm sure a lot of people listening to this have probably heard of her, makeup artist and educator and so forth. And I have to give credit to her to being able to help me to zone in on what it is I wanted to do.
Right.
Because even though I started to serve brides, I was still all over the place with what type of bride I wanted to serve, because there's all types of brides, you know, in terms of the market. So I had to hone in on who I wanted to attract.
Got you.
And so Instagram is a part of that. Marketing is a part of that.
Big time.
So if I didn't want to attract people, for example, that wanted, you know, the Instagram makeup, then I shouldn't be doing Instagram makeup. I shouldn't be putting it on my page. If I want to attract brides who appreciate luxury and being pampered and beautiful like images, I needed to put that out there in images and so forth. And so I had to do all of these things in terms of Instagram. So that's why I said, like before, you like scroll way down. It wasn't none of that.
I didn't do that big of a deep dive.
Yeah.
But what I saw, being that I'm a photographer myself, I just appreciated what you put out
Thank
there.
you.
And I've never shot a wedding, but I can see that you have done some amazing stuff.
Thank you. I worked with some fantastic photographers.
Yeah, you really have.
To them. And all the other vendor teams, hair, styling, florists, like everybody comes together and works so hard.
It's really dope. It scares the crap out of me taking photos of you today. Like, oh God, like I gotta really go all in right now. But anyway, what I'm saying is it shows the fortitude in your work, and it shows that you really are about your business. And I appreciate that. I think that's really, really dope. Now, you put that time and effort to really build something, your business. How does one build a makeup artist business, really? How does that really work for you? Like, do you guys go out and in other words, logistically, how did you really set yourself up these days with how many ways you can get paid and stuff like that? I always say that you judge a person's business by how logistically they set their ways up and how easy they make it for the person to pay them and receive their stuff. Like, do you go out and buy your own products? How does exactly do you set that up? I don't want you to give away the entire recipe.
Yeah.
But, you know, a little something for the listeners, I guess you could say.
So first of all, I definitely needed a professional makeup kit. And when I say that professional makeup kit, it can be an arsenal. You know, I had an arsenal of different products that I would use from, you know, drugstore brand to like high-end brands and so forth, just depending on what performs well. So I needed to choose things, especially working with brides who need makeup to last all day.
Yes.
Products that perform well, that photograph beautifully on camera, that are compatible with skin. There's not going to be issues. So that is sometimes trial and error. And that's a huge investment in doing that. We really spend a lot of money. So there was that. I also had to, of course, build a website. Like, you're not being taken seriously if you don't have a website.
Okay, so I'm a photographer without a website. I got to really work on that.
Well, no shade to you.
No shade,
It's a big deal. It's important.
I didn't think it was a big deal because I thought, you know, I've been getting a lot of my business just straight off social media and stuff like that. But I did notice, like, for me to get taken serious on Upwork and other places that have like really big businesses, I need to upgrade. Like right now, I just set up another business account just to take on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's, I guess you could say, it really is to be taken professional. You got to do the website, take things serious. Like, how much out of the day do you dedicate to your business at this point? Is it really like 12 hours, like they say?
You know, it's. With us, it's so different as creatives because it's all day. It's really all day. And it doesn't mean it's straight
12,
day, you know, but what I do is I try to take out blocks of time. Like, okay, I'm going to spend from, 9 to 12, or sometimes it could be 15 minutes. It really depends on what my day is like, what my schedule's like and so forth. But our minds are constantly turning. My mind is always going. 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's hard to sleep like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, I know that feeling too. Yeah.
It's something that I'm always working on, to be honest, because sometimes it can stretch far beyond what it's supposed to. And you're supposed to turn off because at some point, like, I have kids, I have a husband, and so forth. They need time.
Right.
And it can be challenging to mesh it all together.
It's like, we got to go pumpkin picking today.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
But guess what? You need to send out like 3 emails today.
Yeah.
And you sit up there like,
contracts
okay.
and so forth,
What?
and answer
Oh
emails in
my
a
God.
timely manner.
People don't
you know.
understand how important that like mobile Wi-Fi is kind of like important. Like,
Right.
where are we going? Do they have Wi-Fi? They don't? Okay,
Exactly.
maybe we shouldn't go there.
Yeah, yeah. We're 24 hours. It's,
Yeah.
24. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have hours that I won't, answer emails and so forth like that because it's important to have boundaries in business and so forth. But for the most part, I don't have office hours.
No, me neither.
In the same way. So I may be up working on my website or scheduling a post on Instagram at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I always say you have to give people like you got to give people a stern understanding of your business,
Right.
and make sure they understand like just because you don't think I have a 9 to 5 that I'm open to you all the time. That you
Right.
can just do it. I have to have space for my family
Exactly.
and things like that nature.
Mm-hmm.
That balance is not easy.
No, not at all.
Easy. And you have 2 children, right?
Mhm.
Still have 2 kids. There's not another third one, right? We don't know
No.
about- Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. So you got those 2 kids. They're growing. They're getting bigger and stuff like that. Them growing and getting bigger and taking on different kinds of responsibility. How have you been able to balance that these days?
Man, it's a work in progress. For me, I know this past year was my busiest year ever. I had 1 month, June, I think I had like 6 brides.
I definitely
6
noticed that
brides,
because your volume of like how much you would post and stuff like that
Yeah.
definitely shot up.
Yeah.
I noticed that. And that's normally for a creative, when you see the volume get going up, that means we're busy. Things
Oh my
are going.
goodness. Yeah, we're
Things are
pumping
going.
it out
Yeah.
for sure. And so what I had to do is block off time
Mm-hmm.
where I was like no business.
Yeah.
We took the kids on 2 vacations this year, which
Mm.
is not the norm. 2 vacations, and then I had my a wedding anniversary, so I actually had 3 vacations, which is odd. I don't know when that's gonna happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, I had to block out the time for them.
Yeah, you have to
Because
make
if
space.
I didn't, then I would have been booked.
Yeah.
I would have been booked. I had people asking for, those dates that I'd be away with my family and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. And I hate turning away money. I ain't gonna lie.
I think I asked
hate
you to be on a podcast a while ago. You were like, Brian, when the season slows down, I'll get back to you. And
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
crazy.
you know what? There's nothing I can say to that.
Yeah.
It's just like, yo, that's what's good because you're booked and busy, as you should be. You know what I mean? As you should be, because tis the season. What kind of wedding seasons are more interesting to you? The fall seasons, or do you like the summer? Some people I noticed like the fall season.
I never thought about it. I mean, I guess weather-wise, the warm weather is always nice.
Right.
June was like super hot. I like June because June is summer and there's all of these outdoor ceremonies and so forth. So I like outdoor ceremonies.
Okay.
a lot.
Okay.
First look and all of those things. So that's great.
You like the natural light look.
Yeah, I do.
It does. It plays
I
well
do.
with makeup. It does. It does play well with
It's
makeup.
beautiful. I love it. But I also like the look and feel. Like I had a bride I took care of in February.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was freezing outside, but her photos were spectacular. The colors and everything that she chose were spectacular. So I don't know if I have a favorite season. I just don't like being outside when it's cold. And I tend to be outside with my brides and so forth, But I like my brides perfect, so I don't mind being outdoors with them.
Speaking of perfect, do you have some OCD?
Yes, absolutely. They'll tell you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
That's
kind of
also a
caught on to
selling
that, but
point.
I was letting it rock. I was like, yeah, I see it, but okay, no problem.
Yeah.
That's dope, though. Some people have to have that. Creatives, let me be honest, all creatives have OCD to
I
a certain
think so.
extent. If you're good at what you do and you take your craft seriously, it's not a joke. Like, you need to, like, you will be on top of it. Like, for me, I'll be sitting there and it's a lint ball on a shirt. I will go and get rid of that lint ball. Now, I know no one's going to pay
Right.
attention to it, but
Right.
I see it.
Definitely.
If I crop down a photo, I see a little piece of whatever I cropped out there, I have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I know no one's going to pay attention to it,
Right.
but for me, I see it.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you? Do you ever see your stuff posted and you be like, damn, I missed that?
Yeah. So what I do is the majority of the time I am with my brides during pictures and all of those things because I am that person that is going to be upset if I get the pictures back and this is crooked or there's hair out of place
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so forth. So I actually am with them. I had a bride this past weekend, and her gown designer said to me that he appreciated the fact that I have an eye for detail. He's like, do you remember when you came to fix my bow tie? And he was just part of the, he was a groomsman. But I stepped in and I looked at everybody as the photographer shooting, and I went in and fixed shirts, fixed bow ties, and all those things. Because I don't want those coming back. And it's not that I'll get blamed for it.
Right,
it's
right.
It's out of the, scope of my job.
Right.
But I like a perfect picture.
Yes.
So why not just step in and fix some,
Yeah.
bow ties? There's less editing for you guys.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. And I'm not even a Photoshop guy. And I'm not going to Photoshop much out, but I'm going to look at that and be like, okay.
Right.
I got to fix this, or I'm going to have to black and white this somehow.
These
Make it.
pictures are forever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. So you've built a relationship and a network of people. How important is relationships to you and your business and your life?
Super duper. You
Right.
can't do it without other people.
Right.
You need a network and people that support you, people that you can refer and that are going to refer you, so forth, whether it's clients, whether it's colleagues, friends, family. Got to have that. I don't know how anybody can be successful doing it alone.
Yeah. I have really learned that over this past year. It has not been easy doing a podcast by yourself. It is not easy doing photography by yourself and still trying to build something by yourself.
Right.
You have to work with people. I think I had a lot of trust issues because I've been burnt so many times in the past with other endeavors. So it's a lot to trust someone to take on into things, but if you don't trust, you'll never get anywhere.
Right.
This is an incredible business. Can I ask you something? You see the big explosion of Rihanna's makeup line. Have you ever used that line? How do you feel about, you see that? Because that's one of the biggest lines I've seen ever blow up since I've been around. And I'm like, whoa, okay. I always wanted to ask this to a makeup artist. When you see these lines blowing up, do you ever say to yourself, shoot, I need to get a line?
I've never thought about getting a line. I definitely have ideas about coming out with specific products. As far as Rihanna is concerned, or the Fenty beauty line, I do have a couple of favorite products that I use, two specifically. One is a lipstick and one is a powder. But I do overall, when I look at what I'm going to choose, especially since I tend to buy most stuff that goes in my professional kit, I do look at how something performs and also how it's going to perform for my brides.
Right.
So if I feel like if something that's better suited for consumers, then I won't necessarily put it in my kit.
Gotcha.
So I have a few of her items here and there, but it really depends on how it performs for me. I don't just jump on the bandwagon.
Gotcha.
That kind of stuff.
You're very particular. Well, that goes back to your OCD, and it goes back to your ability to figure out what you like, because everyone has their thing. I'm particular about my lenses. I'm particular about the way I edit. I'm particular about certain things. I'm not crazy particular about certain things, but some things I'm like, no.
Right.
This is how it's got to be done.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about some people. That I'm not the only one that's always in my head with certain things. In that business, and you see the makeup world is blowing up. How much do you contribute that to social media and YouTube and stuff of that nature? Because YouTube beauty blogging is a big damn thing. I see what's going on. What is that guy, Jeffree Star?
Yeah.
And wish you guys could see her face. Anyway, moving on. Stuff like that. I'm just saying in general, how do you think it's affecting young girls, and how do you feel about the business itself?
Well, I think that in a way it's fun. Makeup is fun and so forth. With there being the beauty bloggers and so forth, it's creative. It allows people to plan makeup, have some fun with some videos and so forth. So that part isn't negative at all.
Right.
The other side to it is that it has made everyone think that they're automatically a makeup artist.
Just like everyone thinks they're a photographer.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
A ring light and one makeup palette.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're a professional makeup artist. And sometimes it poses challenges for us and not so much where I feel like it affects my money,
Mm-hmm.
but what happens is that you have clients who don't know the difference right away.
Yeah.
They have to learn the hard way between a professional makeup artist and someone who loves makeup. And so they'll go to this person who has this palette and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna, do your makeup, and then they mess them up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have this bad experience, and then sometimes I have to come in, or we have to come in and clean it up.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Have you had a cleanup? Have you had an emergency cleanup job on a bride before?
No,
Okay.
I haven't.
No,
had
not
that.
not you cleaning, not cleaning up someone. You have to clean up your own stuff. But someone you had to come in and clean someone else's mistakes up.
No, because I don't do that.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. What I mean is that sometimes a client will have a previous bad experience where someone has, I talk about this a lot. They've mismatched their skin, or they did a job where the makeup, especially on women of color, is gray or it's ashy and so forth. And so they've had a bad experience, and so now it's almost like you have to pay for what that other person does. But most of the time, I'd say at this point in the game, by the time my brides come to me and we have that first conversation, they're already confident that I can make it happen for them.
I can see them, V. You got you just have this calming a voice about you, yo, that I could honestly see. I can see them to be like, yes, talk to me more. Like I need you to tell me what's going on. Like if you were like a therapist, you would kill, just because of the voice and everything.
Funny, I thought about that before.
Yes. The makeup business is crazy because of social media.
Yep.
And what I see. Like recently, the issue with Akil and what's her name, Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
I just saw that just happened.
I just saw it too.
Yeah, and I mean, do you need them to tag you and stuff and things like that? Because I know for me as a photographer, and I can speak to this,
Yeah.
I do feel a way about me not getting tagged.
Of course.
Because it's my work.
Yep.
And I've had to check people before, but checking them online and checking them offline, I don't know. Sometimes I want to just say, yo, what's going on here? Why would you post this without tagging me? And then there's other times where I just be like, I'll send a text like, hey, man, thanks for the tag.
Right.
Of course. Sarcastically, depending on my relationship with that person.
Yeah.
Have you ever had your work posted and not get tagged and you felt some kind of way about that?
This is an ongoing, discussion amongst makeup artists. So when I saw that post, I was like, here we go again. This is ongoing. So first of all, with photographers, you guys are the owners
right.
of the images. Totally get that. So you, by far, above anybody else, should be being tagged at all times.
Exactly.
In terms of the rest of us, makeup artists, hair, I say this. What would the photo look like without makeup and hair?
It would suck. No offense to anyone, but yes.
It's still life,
bad.
There's a makeup artist that I respect said that a long time ago. What would it look like without makeup, hair, without styling? So we play an integral role in what that final product looks like.
Right.
And so when we're not tagged, we're not mentioned in credits. Personally, if it's an image where the makeup can be seen, I do not like it. I do take a little bit of offense to that. And it's because this is my work. And that's how a lot of my brides find me. They go into the captions. You know how many of my brides have found me found me because they look down into the captions?
Big facts.
Yeah.
Big facts.
So when it's not there, and a lot of my brides have gone viral over the past. I had a couple who their wedding isn't even until next June, and they already been on some of the biggest pages, social media, and somehow my name gets removed.
What?
Yeah, it happens all the time where it gets reposted, and one person it's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna bother. So fortunately, I work with some great photographers who go in and they'll say, okay, this is who did the makeup.
Right.
I had, and I'll go in and I'll add the vendors too. I'll be like, okay, such and such did the styling or the gown, because we want to help. Come on, this is a team effort here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Shout out to Jeff, who definitely, I want to shout out to my other guest, Jeff, who's been here before. Shout out to great photographers. Want to shout him out real quick. That in itself, the fact that you recognize that as a creative is dope. Some people are very abashed and they don't have they just whatever, my stuff's out there.
Right.
It don't work like that, homie. Nah, you gotta own your stuff.
Right.
Do you agree that this business is blowing up right now for you? But it's blowing up, period. The makeup business is blowing up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's blowing up in a way where. I mean, I think it's been doing that for, I guess, the past several years. But I think that social media has brought a lot of things to light that we didn't necessarily pay attention to before, like all of the phenomenal African weddings. I talk about this a lot. You used to never see that before on social media, and they've been having bomb weddings. They've been doing that. But social media is the one that now you see the receptions and the way they party and everything. So, yeah.
For black women in general, makeup is a big thing because they don't make a lot of stuff for our skin, and they don't make a lot of things that are kind.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you think work best for women? It depends on the shade, obviously, whatever shade they use. But do you feel there are certain like independent brands that you want to shout out that work good for African American ladies?
Yeah, there's a couple that I'm fans of. One in particular is Black Opal.
Black Opal, okay.
They're fantastic with having a variety of shades for us. There's also, I think you pronounce it Morena Beauty. They're also good with that as well. Prime Beauty. I've been using their stuff like crazy lately on my brides. And I'm talking about skin specifically.
Yes.
Because there's still a lot of companies that are totally missing the mark with all of the shades and all of the beautiful ranges of melanin that are out there.
There's so many, man.
Yeah.
There's so many colors. That's one thing about black and Spanish people.
Right.
And I think the Spanish culture is finally starting to transition to understand that there are other shades to you, and they all need to be represented. Just look at it. The young lady, I won't pronounce her name, so I'm not going to butcher it, but Amira. She's dope. But, you know, to the whole world, she's just a black woman. She's not Spanish. But at the end of the day, it's all cultural. It's all African culture. And I appreciate that the beauty of our people are finally being out there like that. And we're working with in makeup and everything else. And we're challenging the views. Was there ever a time that you wanted to get into, like, big, high fashion and work with like big fashion brands and stuff of that nature, and not do the bride thing, but wanted to go into like the high fashion, like go into like Milan to do makeup and something of that nature?
I thought about it. You know, there's always avenues to pursue that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I don't want to do high fashion and runway. It's just, I actually enjoy working with brides. If I'm called to do a job and it's like an editorial photo shoot or something like that, then I would do it, but it's not my niche.
I got you.
My niche is, I like dealing specifically,
and it's
with
working.
Who are getting married.
Yeah. That's working, man. I think it's just dope, because a lot of people want to conquer the world. You can conquer the world through your niche.
Yeah, definitely.
Just stick with what you do best, and sometimes it kind of pays out for you at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to do things that are creative. You know, sometimes I do want to do a shoot where I can play in some color and things like that, because a lot of my brides, they come to me because they're looking for a specific aesthetic, neutral colors and things. So sometimes I'm like, I wish somebody would choose color.
You're gonna get bored.
Yeah.
You're creative. That's
good.
That's hands down. You're gonna get bored.
Love them. I love these women.
Tell me some of the fun things about being a makeup artist. What are some of the fun things that people don't necessarily get to see?
For me, I would say the fun things, of course, is like, there's always shopping for makeup. That's always fun. All of that can get out of hand.
Any places that you would like to recommend? Keep those close to the vest a little bit.
I mean, in particular, because the thing about it is that I don't do a lot of shopping in stores unless it's like a professional discount.
Right,
like,
right.
We those of us that have like some credentials will get professional discounts that are like substantial.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in the store, unless you go to like a pro store,
Yeah.
then you don't get that. So I do a lot of my shopping online where I can get those discounts.
I love that. Yeah,
So
I love that.
fun.
That's
The
dope.
discounts are fun.
Yeah.
Also, like talking with my my beauty sisters. We have a lot of fun conversations about the things we do. Sometimes client stories and things like that. Which are funny. Sometimes things that we wish could have gone differently. But the conversations are fun. The working with. I have a couple of girlfriends that I do weddings with, and we have a ball together. It's a very social type of career path where energy plays a big role.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You need to have good energy to do that kind of stuff. And that's one thing about you. You definitely got good energy, fam.
Thank you.
As soon as you came in here, I was like, she's good. She's good. She doesn't have an aura. You didn't seem standoffish. Because I'm a hugger. Most women, they pull back and they got the hand out for the handshake. But you're running for the hug, which is cool. That's really dope, though. Because I think that has helped contribute to your career.
Yeah.
Because you don't seem like a person who's like, nah, I'm not talking to you. You don't have the attitude issue.
That way.
You'd be surprised.
I know, but I know. Believe me, I see it a lot in the pro community. There are, artists who sometimes don't want to connect with other artists or don't want to connect with clients and so forth. But that's connecting with my clients on an emotional level is important to me. That's actually how I book a lot of my brides is through an emotional connection there, because it's an emotional journey that they're taking.
I appreciate the fact that you acknowledge that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really acknowledge that. They're so caught up in the business professionalism and everything else. No, it's an emotional thing. Definitely. Especially dealing with someone's like supposed to be the best day of their life next to them having children. This is it. You know what I mean? This is the big finale to some relationships. And then not so much. But anyway, we're going to leave that one alone. We're not going to talk about the D word today. But I really, really think that you are doing your thing in a way that is really dope. And I appreciate that. Now, in this business, right, you are going to deal with a lot of people. You got divas. You've got, bridezillas, obviously. You've probably come across a couple of bridezillas in your time. But you don't seem like the type of person who wants to document all that and put all that kind of stuff out there. Was that a conscious decision to not be the super BTS person who's like all over the place trying to put herself out there and throw these things at it? Were you more like, I'm going to do this from a very clean and professional way of doing things?
Yeah, being professional is number one.
Right.
To me. There's too many creatives that are talented but somehow the professionalism leaves the door. It's out.
They miss it completely.
And then they'll understand. They get confused about why they're not getting booked or why clients are not taking them seriously or trying to haggle them. But then there's behavior that's being posted on social media that is unprofessional or that's ratchet. Let's keep it all the way real.
The word of the day.
Right.
Ratchet. Because,
that's a whole other conversation. But it's like, so being professional is really important to me. And then I love doing stories for my brides and so forth. I love to take my followers and my audience through my journey with them.
Right.
There's stuff that happens behind the scenes, but it doesn't mean I need to post it all.
You're not world starring it.
No, I'm not here to embarrass my clients. I'm here to dignify them.
Now that's what I'm talking about right there. That's real G shit right there. That's G talk. One thing I wanted to ask you. You've done celebrities.
Yes.
Is it different working with celebrities than it is working with Jane Doe who lives in Franklin Lakes and she just is a banker?
I would say the first couple times I worked on some celebrities, of course, I was more nervous because of who they are. But then I had to remember that they're people. Yeah, they're people. Yeah, they want to be treated well and treated, kind. Just like other people, they have a different lifestyle that they lead, and they're used to people behaving a certain way around them sometime. But, you know, I know this may sound cliche, but, like, I consider all my clients celebrities. So anybody who sits in my chair is going to be treated the same way.
Yeah.
There's no differentiating.
That's dope, though. That's rich right there. That's like a really good way of putting it. And I feel the same way about all my clients too.
Yeah.
I feel like all my clients, some I know they're not going to give me the energy that I need, and I gotta push that energy. Same thing when I do with a podcast.
Right.
One thing about podcasting that I learned is that every person that I do a podcast with, you have to treat them like they are who they are,
Right.
and give them that respect. And you know, one good thing is I've had a lot of people that I've had on the show are those people.
Yeah.
And I respect what they do. Or I wouldn't have them on the show. Did you ever have a time when you needed to, like, walk away from a client because it was just like it just wasn't fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times. The first time I didn't trust my gut. Right, what I find in this business, being an entrepreneur, the benefit is, of course, you know, the obvious stuff, making your own schedule, controlling your income, you know, and so forth, but also being able to choose who you work with.
Yes.
And so my clients, with the exception of like maybe a couple, have been great. But I have had a couple where I felt like it was going to be a nightmare for me. I strongly believe that not all money is good money.
Yes, I believe in that.
I'll be the first one to tell someone that I'm not a good fit.
And I'm walking away.
Yeah, that I'm unavailable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have walked away from clients and didn't regret it. And I've walked away from clients and kind of regretted it because it was like maybe I was a little too harsh.
Okay.
Have you ever felt like you were too harsh on people on a client? Like, you know what? Maybe I can work this out. You might have been hesitant at first, but maybe we can work this out.
I would say maybe in terms of just showing some flexibility with certain clients. The thing is that it's really a fine line when you know, dealing with clients in business, because for some reason, although we have probably the most important role, you know, of a wedding in particular, because people are looking at your face first.
Yes.
In the industry, we don't necessarily get the respect that we need. And so it's a fine line between being able to be flexible with a client and not allowing them to dictate to you how you run your business, because they'll lose respect for you if they do that.
The moment you do that, like, it's crazy. I can talk to a client and I'll be like, well, we're gonna do this outfit and we'll look at this outfit, and they'll be like, you mean the look? I'm like, yeah, the look. Like, don't give you a photography jargon at all, because it doesn't work at all for me, because I'm just like, no, you know exactly what I'm saying. You just want to try to impose yourself. Just sit down and relax. Everything is going to come to fruition. Just relax. Knowing that you set that line up right away, it's important to do that, to set that line. Like, look, you're not going to tell me how to do this. I got this. Just let me do this. When did you gain that confidence?
Wow.
Because I know in the beginning it couldn't have been right away.
No, it's not. In a way, you know, in the beginning, I would, you know, there's a lot of things we do in the beginning that eventually you stop because you figure out it's not working. Like, for example, you know, early on, I'm sure a lot of artists can relate to this, is taking appointments and not requiring a retainer, you know, just a deposit, that type of thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I remember that early on.
Yeah.
And
I'm just now getting to that point now where I'm like starting to like push that now.
Oh yeah, it has to be a requirement, because otherwise, how are people taking you seriously? There's no skin in the game. So I remember I used to, you know, it stopped pretty quickly, but someone would say, oh, I wanted to, you know, can you do my face for something? And this was when I was charging like $50 or something, and then they would be like, oh, something came up, and
they pull out, and you're stuck with like, wait a minute, hold up, where's the money?
Exactly, everybody's been there. That was so long ago, I can't. And it's funny because eventually you get to a point where you're like, okay, that has to change. So now I have a whole different set of procedures and policies in place that are there to protect both myself and the client. So I really don't have those types of issues anymore.
I've learned to use the web Like, so I'll be like, listen, you can Venmo me, you can PayPal me, you can Cash at me, you can Zelle me today. I want the deposit on this date. And if you don't get a deposit after the first meeting, it's over. Like, we're not having a conversation.
Yeah.
I've definitely pushed that towards when it's time to start really working with people. Like, it's just a business courtesy at this point because it's something that you need to do. That's dope that you figured that out early on because a lot of people don't.
No, and, again, that's why you have to have a network and community and so forth of other people that are professionals that you can talk to about these things.
Right.
Because if you're a person, photographer, makeup artist, hairstylist, and you're out here doing it alone, you're not talking to anybody, you're not taking any workshops, you're not in any professional groups or anything, how will you know what to change and so forth? I mean, a lot of the friends I have, colleagues, groups I'm in and so forth, have also contributed to me, being able to put things in place so that business is smooth.
Yeah. That's one thing I know is about you. You want things smooth, fam, and that's really good.
We don't have time. We don't have time for the drama. Like, let's get this makeup up done and have some fun.
No games being played. So, where do you want your business to go now? You've moved into a very rarefied air where you are legit in this business. Like, it's not one of those things where you're a poser or anything of that nature. You're like legit. Where do you want things to go? You're here now. You done your first podcast. You're right here with me right now.
Yeah, this is amazing.
You're here.
Thank you.
No problem. This is amazing that you're here. Thank you for the opportunity.
There's a couple things I want. I'd like to build a team.
Okay.
Eventually, where I can actually send out artists that I trust onto jobs because I just can't take all of them. And right now, I usually refer to my beauty sisters and so forth, but I'd like to have a small team. Second, I'd like to do more destination weddings. Now, it's not as glamorous as everybody thinks, because you are technically working. A lot of times you're traveling alone. It's not like, as a woman, I can go off on an island and just roam the island by myself.
True.
But I would like to serve more brides across the country and in specific countries I have my eye on.
Got you. That's really dope. That's really, really dope. And as far as like your business, so do you ever want to become an agency or start your own line?
As far as that's concerned, right now I feel like, again, there's a specific product that I'd like to develop a line that I won't say much about now. But as far as an entire line, I don't know if I'm interested in that so much because of the cost and everything that's involved in that. I don't have the drive for it. And I'd be lying if I said that I did.
The motivation. What's the motivation?
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to jump on everything. But I do think it's important to have passive income.
Yes. Yeah, you should write a book one day.
Somebody else said that last year.
Should write a book
one day.
One day you should drop a book. I think it'll be successful. Because there aren't a lot of people who have that ability to go. I think you have the ability to transition into other things quite seamlessly because you definitely have that vibe. It's not like I'm just this and that's all I do. It's not. There's a lot going on turning right there, man. I can see it. Well, listen, I like to say thank you for coming on my show. And I really appreciate you coming on. But, let the people know we can find you, tell people what's going on, what's the latest thing they should be looking out for from you, everything.
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram as Brides by Melanie B.
Yes.
My website is also bridesbymelanieb.com. I'm always doing something in terms of, brides. I have a few more brides coming up that are pretty amazing. I have a big New Year's Eve wedding that I'll be doing. I'm super excited about that. I'll be with my bride.
That's probably going to be really dope.
Yeah, she actually wants her makeup changed before the ball drops. So that'll be pretty fun.
How does that even work? Okay, how does that even work? Before we go,
we just get it done.
Wait, how many times? Okay, anyway, because I'm just thinking about how many times you got to wipe her face down.
Oh, no, we just freshen up and add. There's
okay.
Removing an entire face and so forth. We just freshen up.
All right, because in my head as a man, I'm thinking, so you got to wipe down the entire face. No, that's nuts. Okay.
That's not necessary.
Okay.
But I'm excited about that because that should be fun. I'm also going to be, I like to do content.
Yes.
So I'm also going to be doing some things for 2020. I'm looking to enter into bridal styling.
Oh, okay.
That's my next avenue. I meant to add that to the other things.
Yeah.
I really want to style brides. So that's something that you can stay tuned for.
Nice.
Because I'll be adding that in.
That's going to be fly, yo. Yeah, it's going to be fly. Because you've got plenty of experience. You've seen a lot. Probably seen more than most. That's really dope. All right. So, there's not much to say, man. Other than, look, thank you guys for tuning in. This will be out soon, obviously. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys. And on that note, peace.